the very first thing that took place was at that moment in time, I had the realization, right? Because I possessed that job that consisted of knowing everything for years. At that point in time, standing next to that kid as he's thumbing through boxes, I'm praying to God he finds used underwear. I come to the realization that, you know what I do know? Is that I don't fucking know. And my very best thinking places me in this position time after time after time. I couldn't even lie to my own self anymore about the reality that I kept creating for myself. I couldn't even do it. And the second thing that happened is that I was directly met by the God of my understanding, face to face, as a result of experiencing that gift of desperation. The pain had become so great that the God of my understanding had appeared in that basement, G-O-D, gift of desperation, that I'm standing next to this 19-year-old kid praying to God he finds me used underwear. And when he doesn't find me the used underwear, but he finds me the woman's sweatpants with the size 40 with no drawstring, a woman's tank top, and a pair of size 13 Jesus sandals, he hands me the clothing. I had never been so grateful for such simple articles of clothing in my life, right? I was overcome with a sense of willingness unlike anything that a human could ever provide for me, right? I told you I had just met the God of my understanding as a direct result of that gift of desperation. And with that, I take the women's clothing and I go upstairs, I get a shower, I get that Baltimore City smell off me. Never so excited to put women's clothing on in my life. I stay in that facility for 90 days, right? In that facility, I had learned that like my mentality will always create my reality. And then my therapist told me in group one day, if you change your perception, you can change your world. And with that being said, that my defects, the very same thing that was killing me on a daily basis, could become my assets with the slightest shift of perception. Hence me sitting here with you lovely gentlemen today, sharing my message of promise, hope, and freedom that does not consist of a fucking drink or a drug.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's Brandon, it goes back to the first interview that I did was with a gentleman who's a documentarian making a film called Raising Hope, Eric Christensen. And he said, you know, our greatest adversity becomes our greatest advantage. And that, you know, I'm glad you shared that silver lining, that moment, because it really is beautiful, you know, because we wanted people to understand that you had such a story of hurt and struggle, but you've started to do so much good with it now. And that influences two guys that are fans of yours for, you know, different reasons, that we were so pumped to talk to you because we know the good that you are doing now. And it shows through, and it shows through in the transparency too, which I think shows great strength of character.
But the most important thing about what I share with you for the viewers is that at the time when those events were taking place, I was incapable of seeing the importance of it, right? Like I had to continue to stay par of the course, right? Showing up on 5 years sobriety, having remained sober long enough that I can look back and recognize the synchronicity in life's events. All this, right? Everything that you see me in for how you view me, what you think of me, your perception or perspective of me is simply derived as a whole bunch of pain. The pain just became so great that I found myself willing to do whatever you suggested. And with that came an open mind because I knew that my way no longer worked.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that was a big moment of confrontation for me was, and I can relate to what you're saying, was this all-knowing, look at this, I've done this, I've done that, and the people that I was directly affecting, like, you don't know shit, you haven't done shit in comparison, when it couldn't have been further from the truth. And I had such a magical gift of standing in my own way. And I've had to give up that power and just go, I don't know. Tell me what's best for me, because I don't have a clue.
And that's it, right? I told you I was tired of my own voice at that point, walking into that facility. Like I was just so done.
Right.
I remember when I was at the assessment station and they were trying to find me a bed in a rehab, right? Because I as my disease progressed, so did my treatment center stays. In the beginning, it was like aromatherapy, music therapy, yoga, private chef. At the end, I'm in an assessment center. And they're trying to find me a free bed somewhere. Um, and as I'm sitting in there, I literally couldn't even sit in my chair. I was so sick, right? I was so ill. I'm shitting, I'm pissing, I'm throwing up all at the same time. So I walked in there, and it was like an outpatient place, and people were sitting in their chairs like how you and I are today, normal, like, you know, getting ready to go to their therapy. And I was so far from that. That I went and I laid in the corner under these chairs in a fetal position with my back against them. And I remember thinking, if I could just get in this wall, that would be good. Like I just, and I remember them trying to get me a bed, and they're calling around everywhere because this is Memorial Day, 2015. And I thought to myself, if they can't get me a bed, the very best that I can come up with is I'm going to walk out here, and right outside their door is a big thing of shrubs. And I'm going to lay between the shrub and the brick building, you know, so no one will see me. That's just, I was just done. I was done. I'm just trying to paint this picture for you of how done I was. And for the first time in my life, I walked into that 13th facility with no plan at all. And that lack of plan has produced the best of plans, right? Because it allowed me to just get the f out of my way.
Yeah.
Right? And then when I got into there, I adhered to the lessons and the suggestions they were giving me. And what they told me is resentments are the #1 offender to an alcoholic. You harbor enough resentments, it will kill you because you will drink again, right? And now what I learned is that expectations are nothing but unfulfilled resentments. So I had to stop placing these expectations on people, places, and things. And the reality is there is no third part. The only thing that I will ever be able to control is me, my thinking, my attitude, my behavior. And I am the problem. The sooner that I can accept that, the better and easier my life will become. Because if I expect you to think as I think you should think, say as I think you should say, and feel as I think you should feel, it's not a matter of if you'll let me down, it's when you'll let me down. And I will immediately have resentments. And I'm not the privileged that can harbor a resentment, right? Because the scariest thing for me is not that I'll drink and shoot dope again and die. That's actually kind of welcomed if I were to relapse. What scares me to sobriety, if you will, is that I go out and I drink and I drug and I don't die. And I have to wake up every day and use against my will and do things that I don't want to do to get another bag. That's